on the foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on the foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on the foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you.
ADR Networks presenta.
You're in the show, sis.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
On the foreign show.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. It's Friday, 3 p.m. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to ADR Networks, and we are here activating your senses. My name is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Rakesh.
So today we're not doing the insider. We are just going to talk about some energies that we got from the tarot. I do read tarot for the new year.
For the new year.
2024.
Well, Happy New Year, one and all of you joining us here at that foreign show. And we're not doing the usual kind of insider
today.
segment, right?
Yeah, we just want to talk about 2024 and some of these energies that we really connect to. So, Monica, if you could put up the pictures that we sent you. Basically, these are energies that we got from reading the cards. Okay, once we have them up, let me.
Yes, it's something that we're trying differently, all right, for this show, something different, and it is intentions, ideas, kind of like energies, kind of focuses that we kind of vibe with, and that we kind of wish for all of you guys as well this coming new year. And so we want to share this with you, and we put them up as they come up. How did you go about doing this? Like, you broke them down into different
Elements.
right?
Right. So there is fire element, earth element, air, water, and ether element, just for like one of the major arcanas. Basically the fire element would give you motivation. The air element, some food for thought, inspiration, direction. I mean, actually, those two are quite similar, the fire and the air. And then, basically, it would be cool to look at the pictures, and then we can talk about them.
Right. All right, here we go. So, energies for 2024. 2024.
All right, so discipline is from Eight of Pentacles, which is actually the hard work card. But here we zone in on the energy of discipline, which it's the study of this topic in general is this idea that if you discipline yourself, it's actually a love for self. because
Right.
you are like feeding yourself something long term, something beneficial for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like short-term pleasures, they are not beneficial for you in the long term.
Right.
You know, whereas if you hone an attitude of discipline, it breeds more discipline. And over here, it's a quote from M. Scott Peck that goes into the idea of like discipline basically being inspired by the desire to evolve spiritually, and that really hit a note for me.
I think that's a great one to start things off. Discipline, putting yourself first. And here next we have perseverance, right? And
So this is 9 of wands.
right.
In the
So
tarot.
so these are cards that you draw from the tarot deck, right? And
Yeah.
then you get some inspiration based on what the card tells you, and then
Right.
you
So
come up with a
the earlier the eight pentacles, that is an earth. It's an earth element, and so that one's gonna help you to basically get something very tangible
Right.
for yourself for the coming year. And now this one is the fire element.
yeah, the
That's
fire
going
element.
to help to push you. So perseverance is that, like, it's about when you push already, you push some more.
Push
you know,
someone, right.
it's the whole thing is like challenge yourself.
And that's a great quote. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic, right? It makes a lot of sense, right? You got to push, you got to
Yeah.
persevere, right?
And I think in 2024 we are like just coming out of the whole pandemic vibe. So we need to just keep going, you know, so perseverance. Okay, so then we move on to celebration. This is 3 of Cups, the water element. So 3 of Cups is the card of celebration. So here we are zoning into self-celebration. Like, I think, like, again, after pandemic, I think it's time to celebrate who you are, you know, people clap for yourself, that all the things that you did. It's not bragging because you are focused on you. You're not trying to you know, like
Show off.
show
right?
off. Like when you like just focus into like, you know, giving yourself kudos for everything. You don't care if it's a show off or not anyway. You know, you like, especially like at the end of the year, New Year's time, celebrate who you are, celebrate your year, celebrate all the accomplishments that you have. Find every small thing and just, you know, basically bring this energy into 2024. You have made it. You know, you are here. You are here in 2024.
That's beautiful. And hashtag healthy ego, right?
Yeah.
So putting yourself first in a healthy way, and it's healthy to do that.
Yeah, and healthy ego is really something we learned last year, like something that we really came full circle with, like having
Indeed.
spent a long time just getting rid of ego in the first place, you know, understanding what that means, all the identities that we have been given and clung to, and
And false ideas and false beliefs that were not serving us. So just kind of moving away from that.
Okay.
All right, and this one, realization, right? One of the ways to develop willpower, we were taught, was to finish that we should begin. It often requires more effort at the end of a task or project than at the beginning of it. Each time we put effort into action, we are using our willpower. So finish that which you begin. This is beautiful. We are both actually kind of reading this book at the moment by Dandapani, right?
And realization here, the meaning of it is completion. Like, complete everything you do. World card is about completion, you know. And then I just talked about coming full circle. So, and this is the last element, air. And this is the card of intention. So, like, be very intentional with how you live your life. In order to be intentional, we must have clarity of what we want in this life. Crystal clear clarity. So like basically the idea of intention is that at each point your awareness is being managed. You're not just, stream of consciousness all the time,
Right.
and lost and all that. Is every moment you are pulling your awareness back to you deciding where it goes and what you want to put your attention on.
Especially in this day and age when there are lots of distractions, or I should say,
Lots of distractions.
It's easier to get distracted now,
Yeah.
like with all the different things.
Mhm.
So staying in your lane and kind of staying strong with your intention.
Yeah, concentrate, basically focus. So yeah, like this book that we are talking about from Dhanapadi. Basically, he talks about technology, saying that it's not technology's fault that we are distracted. It's a tool for you. So you need to learn to manage your awareness. And I really love that. And I really feel like all these things that he's talking about is like extremely the same pace as what I am awakening to. I mean, all these things are stuff that we have always thought about and have been working on.
Discussing these
And
things.
it is like very deep reminders for us, and it's time to really hone in and practice it. And 2024 is for us to do that, and we're sharing all these thoughts with you, these energies with you, and we hope that it will be stuff that will be helpful to you in 2024, like especially being foreigners in Mexico, like basically, we talk about this all the time. Like, if you're a foreigner, you need to think fast, be on your feet, change, adapt, and yeah.
Mm. Right. These are things that I would say kind of like focal points. That if we zoom in on, or that if we can master these ideas, although they seem simple, in fact they seem almost feel like those generic posters that you see in office walls, motivation and things.
Yeah,
It is generic.
the thing is,
but
they're the common sense stuff, and like
Exactly.
usually you can get anything from just going to the common sense stuff, because we're overwhelmed, overthinking, trying to overcomplicate things. Yeah, exactly. So,
and that is a superpower that Dandamani talks about in his book as well. That if you are able to be intentional and be very clear with your focus and what you're trying to do, that you will end up actually living a joyful and fulfilling life. Yes.
So our guest is here.
Yes.
Marvin
We wanna welcome-
Govinden from the UK. Let's welcome him.
He's backstage.
Okay, well,
Coming in.
he's here.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi
Marvin.
everyone.
Hey,
Hi.
Marvin, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Right. So,
You can hear us good?
I can hear you okay for now. I think my connection's good.
Perfect. Well,
okay.
nice to see you again.
So let's jump right in. Let's find out more about your background. I mean, I know, but like the audience needs to know.
Yes.
And what's your background? And yeah, before you came to Mexico, like where you from and all that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Marvin. I'm almost 48 years old. I came to Mexico when I was 30, so around 2006. So I was working as an engineer in West London in the UK, and everything is fine. It was good job, car, flat, everything. When I moved to Mexico,
Oh, sorry, Marvin, you got cut off there.
it was a whole new experience because I had so yeah, it's a big reboot for me. But my whole life I've been in the UK basically.
Right. So, like, I mean, like from the stuff that you told me, like it really, I thought it was really impressive how, like, when you came to Mexico, you really immersed yourself. Like you're very open, and then like you wanted to know all the like cultural stuff, and you learned Spanish dedicatedly, all that, and yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
To really-
Sorry. Yeah. So coming as an engineer, you've got your formation, you have your career path, and then to suddenly immerse yourself in something where you don't even know the language, it's a new experience and it's adventure. It's something not everyone wants to do, but it
Right.
will. So you're going from maybe West London, cloudy, a very structured lifestyle, to suddenly a very sunny lifestyle. Many informal, the way you may dress may be very informal when you're around the city. And initially, well, you have to learn the language, and that was 4 hours of intensive Spanish, no English, for a number of weeks, and you can extend it as long as you want. So I was on average, I did about 4.5 months of intensive Spanish. I've made new friends on the course who are mainly foreigners like me who were looking to learn Spanish, Mexican Spanish in this case, and then really adapt to the lifestyle. I mean, it's people are very friendly. They're very humble. The types of restaurants you may go to are more informal. The food is different. You have to adapt to the food. So you have to be available to maybe give up some of the things we're used to and the things to doing all your life and say, I'm going to start eating this other kind of food and getting used to that, socializing with people. The work hours are slightly different. People like to eat a lot later here than in the UK. Maybe at 12:30 in the UK. Over here, it could be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you have to make those basic adjustments. And the thing I found is I had to really keep an open mind. You couldn't be too picky and say, I'm going to apply for exactly the same work I did all the years prior to that moment. You have to be a bit more open. You know what? I'll work here and I'll see what happens. Because at the same time, in my case, you learn Spanish, but you don't learn technical Spanish. Who's going to teach you technical Spanish at a?
Yeah.
Right.
But you said you did, right? Like for your line of work, you had to go and learn again.
Yes.
Like you had to learn Spanish and with all the technical terms and stuff like that. So, where do you go for that? I don't even know.
Exactly. So I got like a Spanish dictionary with technical terms, so like an engineering dictionary. And at the same time, I did tech support work for a representative company, and so I could learn what I needed to support, and then I get a phone call and I'd give support. It's very basic work, not that much communication, but you have colleagues. You have local colleagues from Mexico, and that they would help me to translate things. They would support me in my work. You make new friends, and bit by bit, I would get more experience in the field. So that way, that set me up for my next job. Yes, I think I've lost you guys. Hello. I think I've lost the host. Anyway, so just to carry on, so with that, I would.
Sorry, we
were completely cut off.
Yes, yes, I noticed that.
Were you still talking when we were?
No, I stopped for a bit. For a bit.
Okay.
All right,
I thought you got bored. You got bored and you left.
Okay, well,
enough of this.
No, I would actually like to ask you. Okay, sorry. I realized I was asking all the questions, but like basically, I would like to ask you, like, so you've been here like 20 over years. So I mean, obviously, it's very different.
17,
like
17 years. 17 years.
17 years. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said like 26 or something.
2006, first time you came. I actually have a question about that. So when you came to Mexico in 2000 and your first time, was it also in the same capacity as an engineer, doing the same job kind of thing? Or what was the reason?
No, I got married to a Mexican woman who I met in the UK. So she moved back to Mexico. So my options were to stay in the UK or to go to Mexico. So
Right.
I moved to Mexico, and even though it sounds easy that she's Mexican, she'll teach you Spanish. That doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
she just sent me to a Spanish language school, which is in La Carreta. And I was just doing my own thing for a few months, just to I'd go for 4 hours, do my homework, go back home, and that was the cycle. And also getting to know. I mean, the good thing about that, because I wasn't in a formal capacity as working, I'd hang around. I'd go to do touristy things. We'd go to depending on the mix of students, some of them knew the archaeological sites, others didn't. So at some point after 3 months, I became almost their tour guide. So I would take everyone to the city center and show them around. And and that helps to get to know a bit of the colonial history, the archaeological history, and it makes you love the place more as well, because you see everything that's happened.
Right. I mean, and I'm not asking you to compare UK and Mexico, but you decided. I mean, now I know it's because you're married to a Mexican lady, but you decided to stay here. So obviously, Mexico being so far away from home and your family and everything, it had its charms, right? And
yeah.
What would you say about that? What was the draw to stay here for?
Well, I have to say, I didn't know much. I mean, I'd visited maybe twice before I got married and moved here. But I've always looked for adventure. I mean, you have to have that spirit. You want to learn new things. And I was always interested. I say from the UK, I was interested in Aztec documentaries, Maya documentaries, Egypt, pyramids, those types of things. That helped. I'd say I'd also seen lots of what I thought was just Mexican Clint Eastwood movies, Zorro, and gangland movies from Hollywood. That was my idea of how Mexico was. Even though in 1986 there was a World Cup and everything, I still subconsciously had this idea of what Mexico was. And when I started visiting,
it's a very strong imprint that we have, the Mexico of America.
Yeah, the impression that
cowboys and cartels and basically.
Yes, even in our case, the Singaporeans that we know, we kind of have also that kind of similar impression of Mexico. Yes, and so you come here and then it's completely different, right?
It for me it was completely different because you see all the cultural aspects. The food at the time it wasn't recognized as it is now worldwide, like a national heritage. But the food was something which I didn't expect. It's very nutritious. Every region has the regional dish and the regional variations of food. We just say tacos everywhere, right? It's all tacos, but it's not all tacos. There's lots of variations of food, and so that's an experience you can have. That culinary experience. You see the festival days, Day of the Dead, which is more known now because of the Pixar movie, Coco, and everything. People know a little more about those parts of the culture, and you see how it's celebrated, and it's something which is very culturally rich in that aspect. And I'm not saying that the UK isn't culturally rich in other aspects. It's very diverse. It's just different, and if you're open to accept a new way of living and less control, more flexibility. I would arrive to my work 20 minutes before starting work in the UK. When I was working here, they told me when we say 9 o'clock, it's a guideline. It's not a deadline.
Well, I like that saying. And do you like it, or are you really thrown off by it? Because we have a lot of foreign friends. I mean, we aren't. We are okay with the flexibility, but we have a lot of foreign friends who are really annoyed by the lateness. And,
most recently, a German friend was complaining about that also.
Yes. the discipline. So here's the thing. I feel if you can find a good, because I have German friends here as well, and if you find a good in between of getting the work done efficiently and lighting up a bit, it works better for everyone. I can't impose my way of working on people who have grown up in this culture. And if I can give something to my colleagues which helps them improve their performance at work, that's something that they want to accept, not that something I feel I should oblige them to accept. So if I can
Right,
do it in
right.
a positive way, if it's to grow the company, if it's to grow opportunities, to share knowledge, that's what I think I'd like to influence, and try and find a middle ground in that. Not I don't want to be a dictator of any kind.
Yes.
A dictator of time.
Yes, I mean,
I understand
obviously.
that. Yeah, I understand what you said about that there can be complaints, but you get over it over time. A few months, you give it a few months, you'll relax a bit. If you come in from that kind of lifestyle.
Let me ask you this in a professional kind of setting. What's a positive or what's something new that you have adapted from the Mexican culture in the working environment?
I'd say it's definitely more social. I've seen the current company I'm at. I've seen how much more social it is. So we work between, say, United States companies like who are selling a technology, and Mexican companies who may introduce that technology into their ecosystem. So we're in the middle. So we work on the technical sales and the social sales. The costs. And I've seen how it's very, whereas I was used to maybe more of a systematic way of quoting and getting the best price, and it was very systematic where I came from in England. On this side, it was much more social. It's like, okay, let's go out and meet for drinks. Let's talk about this, and there's a social aspect to it as well, not just a technical. Aspect. There's a social aspect, and it's something which is between engineers, there's one way of working, and between the purchasing groups, there's another way of working. So there's I'd say it was a good balance of both of those things.
Right, like they want to get to know you, the person, not just the brain, right?
I'm telling you this. Yeah, I'm telling you this. This is the best cost. Buy it. It's not like that. There has to be a social aspect. You have to be friendly.
Yeah, which is useful because like at the end of the day, the social aspect will kind of train you to kind of get good at making your product be better received, right? And or your service, right?
Yes, and to give
by
trust.
the end user.
And to give trust. I mean, there's many, if you come in to just sell a product, they try it and it works for a bit and it breaks, then they won't call you again. But if they know you're really trying to give them something which is useful and they trust you as well, and if there's a problem, they can go back to you, then it gives you that confidence to collaborate. I see it more as a collaboration, not just a closed sale, and
So
that's what I do.
Let me ask you this, Marvin. So after spending some time here in Mexico, you went back to the UK for a period?
I was going back every 2 years to visit my family.
Okay.
That sort of stopped during the pandemic because it was more dangerous to do that with elderly parents. So it's been more WhatsApp and Skype in that sense. But I do go back, and I do like to meet my friends and that I studied with and have grown up with. So.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, like the people or the usual groups that you hang out in the UK, do they notice any difference in the way that you like some changes in you or yourself? Do you?
They all think I'm a drug dealer, which is not.
Let's get to the stereotypes.
Yeah. So that would usually be, what are you doing? I have come across sometimes, if it's been friends I haven't seen in a while, they seem to think I'm not working in my profession. They may think, hey, so what are you doing? Are you working as a porter, a handyman? So that stereotype has come up, and it's like, do you think I don't work as an engineer anymore? So that's come up. Others have been, because they've been more in contact with me over the years, they realize I'm working for an international company. I'm based in Mexico, and I do get to travel outside. I do get to explore. They do understand that I'm doing something maybe not, which is repetitive, the same thing day in, day out. They do see it's very different what I'm doing. In a way, I feel it's more pioneering, looking for a new opportunity that could grow into something bigger.
Yes, most
Right.
definitely.
So, I mean, right now, are you working remotely or you go into the office?
It's remote work. It's we have like those offices, the iOS offices. I work from home as well. Sometimes before 9 o'clock, I can get out a number of emails, and then I might go to the office and then have a meeting with my colleagues. Or we might go straight to the customer's premises and meet on the premises. So it's very a flexible way of working. So there's not much office time. It's not, it's not so frequent, but we have that flexibility to define the hours we work. So that helps, and that's a lot better than that.
This is sorry. Yeah, this is no longer with the American company, right? You said you worked in an American company before. Now it's with.
This is an American Mexican company. So for a number of years, well, a couple of decades, I think, they've been there's been a collaboration between this company in the United States, in Texas, and with Mexico, and so they have the LATAM version. So we cover southern Texas, and we cover Mexico, Colombia, Argentina. So from here, I get as a technical consultant, I get to travel to those different regions. The company is called ION. It's a manufacturer's representative.
Yeah, I checked it out when you told me. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know much about your industry, so yeah, and
very technology.
So being like in an American Mexican company, so the Americans that you encounter on a day-to-day basis, like they probably wouldn't have the misconceptions of Mexico as much as like other people would, right? Because they are dealing with Mexicans every day, right?
Yes. So you said the founders of the company and those engineers and salespeople, they've already had interaction here and throughout Latin America. They understand it's a bit different. Even today, one said to me, "Oh, I know if I ask you for how that project is going, you'll say 1 week, and I have an answer in 5." So they understand those details. And if there's a newbie coming into the industry from, like, it's not necessarily the United States, but from somewhere else, we get in charge of showing them how the region works. We take them around. We take them to meet customers. We prep them on what they're going to see and who they're going to talk to and how we should conduct ourselves. Because sometimes you could be talking to someone who's very humble and he looks like he's just coming off his bicycle off the street, and it turns out it's the CEO of the company. And so it's actually something very important. But it's just people who aren't necessarily going to show I have money and I have a Mercedes. They'll be very humble. It's not a good idea to promote that kind of thing here. So,
would you say these are the more, I would say, advanced social skills that Mexico kind of helps you develop? Like
personally, I believe they're advanced social skills. It's been difficult to explain to people who haven't lived it to see what we do here, because it's very easy to say I'm from a first world country. What I do here is the best, and so I've come into it a lot. When you see how we work here, so we can work both sides. You can work here, we can work the other side, and the middle. We adjust for the differences, and the success. We measure the success by actually with the results. So if we've sold something, if there's new technology that's been introduced into the market, that's the success. And it's not as easy as it looks. But once you have the way of working, you can repeat that.
I'm sure it must have been frustrating a lot of times as well, right? Like needing to adjust to this new way of or new
I think,
pace and yeah.
yes, initially I'd say, I mean, it seemed like I slowed down, which is not a bad thing when I came here. But in terms of the language, you can't do a translation in your head of English and what's that in Spanish. It has to be automatic. So you have to get at some point to that level. For me, it took me about 3 to 4 months to really get into that. If you don't know something, you just say the word in English, they'll pick it up.
Right.
It helped being in a company where we had the corporate people, the engineers, and we had the technical assemblers,
Mhm.
and they all talk differently. They talk more colloquial Spanish. So I would ask
Yeah.
them for something, they would answer, and I wouldn't understand, and then
Yeah.
someone from there would explain again and again until I understood. So they're actually very patient with me, and I learned a lot from that side as well. You know how to behave in different communities, in different with different, I guess you could say upbringings, local upbringings. So I can't go into a factory floor as if I'm the king of England.
Right.
That's not
Yes.
gonna work. You have to go in on a more humble level, a more empathetic level.
Great.
That's yeah.
And like back home, like yeah, besides what you told us, like the joke about like being a drug dealer, like what else? Like I mean, like I'm sure like now that they your friends have you who live in Mexico, they are now more educated about what Mexico is like.
I think so. Yes. I think they're slightly more sensitive to the exaggeration, maybe on the news, on how things are. I mean, always a negative is amplified, right? I mean,
Yeah.
someone gets shot. That's what gets reported. You don't report there's a nice big party, right? There's happening in some town.
Yeah.
So, if you look for trouble, you'll find trouble, like any other city. We've I have had discussions with them. I think especially a few years ago, it was like everyone who comes from the southern border crosses into the United States is a Mexican, and that's not the truth. There's lots of countries, lots of immigrants coming up through Mexico. That's a common like misconception. It's like everyone's trying to escape, and
Right.
that's not necessarily true. People do cross, they do work, they do send money across, they do come back. You have many nationalities trying to get to the United States. I think the most typical one, being lazy, drinking tequila, sleeping under cactus. That's,
Right. Yeah.
Living on the
With a big
cactus.
I'm
old
guilty
mustache.
of
Yeah.
thinking
Like
that.
yeah.
Yes, I've been
Yeah.
guilty of thinking that, and I was more ignorant. And what I would say is that I've seen very hardworking people, and sometimes if things aren't getting done, it's because maybe they don't have the resources. They haven't been given the resources. I came from a company where I had $2 million worth of resource for my testing. And I went to
Right.
another company here and I said, where is this equipment? And they didn't have it. They had like $20 worth of equipment. And somehow
Wow.
they were making miracles. They were making with no test equipment. And so I was very impressed. It's like, wow,
Okay.
you managed to do all of this work without any resource. So maybe things get slowed down and maybe it's not as efficient, but a lot of the time that's due to the resource that's been invested in those people. And a lot of the times they're not being paid a high salary at all. It's a modest salary. So it's very humbling and impressive that they can achieve what they can achieve with limited
Right.
resources and personal wealth.
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard the stereotype of like what you say, lazy, lying around. But then there's also the stereotype of like you can't outwork a Mexican. Like there's also that they are super hardworking and that they just keep going and going and so
Yes,
yeah, I
there
guess
is
I
that.
guess yeah.
And that's true as well. There's a word that todologos, which means a person that does everything. And it's true because when I joined this company, it's like, well, this is what we need you to fix. If you can fix this as well, thank you. If you want to clean the place as well, it's okay. If you want to make the coffee, everything you want to do, you can do it. Whereas where in the environment I was before, it was like, this is your job. If it's done, we'll see you next month. And that was I didn't have anything else to do. So there was that change. So
Mm.
I've been allowed to do more than maybe I should be allowed to do. So that's good.
Oh, you're saying in a nice way. You've been allowed to do it.
Let me.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot by being able to do what I had to do, and then maybe doing things extra. It's helped me a lot. I have to say,
Right. Yeah, I think it's exactly this attitude that will help you to thrive, like being in a foreign country, because you're open, you're adaptable. It's it's important to be like that to really make the most out of being in a whole different environment.
Yes. And let me ask you this. I'm kind of curious about this also, like back home, the usual structure of, the superiors and the people underneath the superiors, and how obviously you listen to your superior, right? You communicate with your superior, but generally you are following instructions, and sometimes you give suggestions to your superior. In Mexico, do you find that there's any difference in this chain of communication? Or is there any difficulty in getting your point across, or being misunderstood?
there is, depending on the company, there is hierarchy, and there are channels to communicate. I've seen cases where it's been done well and cases where it's been done badly. Where I've been, we've tried to be very flat. It's like, if you have something to say, just say it. It doesn't matter what level you're at, but it's better to say it, and so that everyone knows about it. And especially, I would say, between, say, the head office and, say, the factory floor,
Right.
You have to be able to get the opinions of those people to the right people, because they're in charge of making things happen. And if they can't communicate the problems they're suffering, if they don't have enough water, if they're missing tools, everything collapses. And so I've been involved in processes where we've improved that communication. And it really is a matter of getting out of the office, and instead of putting it on an Excel sheet, is going down and talking to people and being nice, having coffee together. What can I fix? What is not working? It is, and I've seen that has worked well here. And it's a more typical way. In some cases, it was literally at certain times of year, we called it tequila hour. So we'd sneak off and have tequila together.
Siesta time or something. I'm surprised to hear that you guys were able to do like a very flat way of communication, because I would say that that's pretty British. Right?
Yeah, there's been some influence for some reason.
Okay.
So it's to find a good middle ground. So there is a hierarchy, but what has worked for me is to try and say, let's communicate and work together, and not to try to, as you said, I am British, I know better than you. That's not.
No, you're good at the British stereotype.
I prefer them to see me as an equal. It's like, I'm with you guys as well. I probably know less than you, and in many cases, my Spanish will fail, or I don't know how to say something, and someone has to step in for me. So I try to really come down to the level I need to be.
You see, like for us, because we talk to different guests and stuff, and one of the things that comes up also, our problems that they face when dealing with people in Mexico. One of the things that comes up is this issue of it's kind of a communication thing, a cultural, overly polite, difficulty in saying no kind of thing. And
so this flexing is very surprising because of that as well, because it's being able to tell you when they don't like something or something's wrong. And I think in a lot of cases, like, they would just avoid.
It's say yes, and then you just don't do it.
Oh yeah, or say yes.
I've seen a lot of that as well, and you can sort of tell in that moment that's not going to get done. It's So there is a way to say, you can say, can you do that, or say, let's go and do that together. There's two ways. Okay, can we get that done? Sometimes to order people and they feel that they're being made less.
Exactly.
So you need to, empathetically discover that balance. And so it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's more difficult. And sometimes, as I like to lead by example, it's like, if I'm willing to do it, when will you like to participate in that process? So then
Right.
that opens it up. If it's something no one wants to do, it's like, okay, don't worry, I'll do it, and then I'll see who jumps in to help me. So it's
Right.
I don't
And
really ask people to do things that I wouldn't do myself.
Right, but I mean, like this whole thing takes a while to understand, because at first you don't even know what's happening. Like like, oh, but they said yes. Oh, they suggested it. Sometimes it's like that. They actually suggested, and like nobody turns up or something. And
actually,
you saying
it can be a very positive thing. Like for us, personally speaking, it has been a kind of a positive thing for us in our growth, because like when we are dealing in situations like this, it just forces us to be clearer, like you said, more empathic, and also
the empathic is important, because like you don't like be just expecting one way, and you just look at your own personal side, right?
Yes. And that's why we love Mexico. That's one of the great things that working with Mexicans has kind of taught us, that coming from where we come from, that we want to get something done. It's like, get it done, just get it done.
Yeah,
but
patience is very short back home. Like
patience.
It's like get it done, and then like people get angry really quickly, and basically.
Yeah.
But here's slow.
That thing, when I have gone back, say, to the US or to the UK, I have seen that again, and sometimes it shocked me, because I forgot it was like that.
Yeah.
It's been such a long time.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you achieve the end result and you don't have to get people stressed and annoyed, if it doesn't matter if it's done in 3 minutes or in 50 minutes, then why generate the stress? It can be okay, it's going to get done. We've agreed it's going to be done by this time, and it will be done, and it won't impact the end result. So there are ways to try to, okay, this is not that critical. If it's really critical, okay, who's going to do it? Let's do it together. Let's all get it done together. So yes, it is a work in progress. You still have to do it, but it's taken a lot of. I learned from a startup company. We're hiring people. We'd ask for things to get done. You think you've explained everything, it doesn't get done properly, and then it's like, okay, what's not happening? Okay, lead by example. I'll do it. I need it done like this. Can you copy me like this or not? If not, let's practice till we get it correct. And that seemed to work. If I just give it on a piece of paper and hope for the best, 50-50. So training is in there, and when people learn to respect you more, then you don't even need to ask for the things to get done. They'll do it. They know what you're going to ask for, and so that's really nice when you see that. And it's even better when they start doing things better than you showed them how to do it. That's even. I've had that as well.
I really think all these things that we're talking about, like, it's really necessary, because like a newbie, like it's hard for them to navigate all these layers of stuff, like what the culture is like, because it's a conversational thing. Like you like, I would say like countries like UK, US, Singapore are the same. Like when quite a high percentage of the time, if you say something, it's actually going to happen. Like say I meet you here at 3 o'clock, it's actually going to happen. And then like in Mexico, it's not necessary. You don't know if that's going to happen, right? And then plus the language barrier, and then everything, because there's a whole other thing going on. There's a subtle thing going on. That person saying that they will meet you, but you are seeing some hesitation. So it's just a cultural thing. Like they don't know how to say no, kind of thing, like in a manner of speaking.
It's true, yeah. Then I think that's derived from the colonial times, when they were oppressed by the Spanish motherland. And so the people would say yes, but they were also being forced to do it, and so they may not do it, but they would just say yes. So I think it's come from that, and also here. And when people commit to a time, it's true. You can say, let's meet at this time. So you have to build in that time. If I only need about 3 o'clock, I'm going to say 2 o'clock at this place, because traffic here, it rains.
That's true.
That's true.
Working. You can't build in 5 minutes of flexibility. You got to build in a lot more time.
Then there's also the
And
psychological thing. Yeah, yes.
the
But
psychological
this
thing, yeah.
of like, like for example, back in Singapore, like if you have an appointment and both parties show up on time, ready for the appointment, that is the first clause of the contract agreed upon, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, in over here, it's a different kind of culture in terms of.
It's more relaxed. It's they meet up, and it's not. It doesn't seem to be as serious as maybe as you just mentioned. It's more of yeah, sure, I'll meet you. Let's have a. I'll be there more or less at that time. It's not as strict, Maybe it doesn't seem to be taken as serious as it should be, And yeah, that's a very common thing to see.
So as an engineer, like where you need things to be precise, like how has that helped you? That gray area, that vagueness.
I tend to push for details. So yes, your tolerance, maybe I need this done like this. So maybe it's a material that has to go into there, and something will arrive and it doesn't comply with that. So you get stricter on the material. You do, okay, you know what? I need it to be this size, very precise, and I need you to show me that. So you control it and you narrow the limits. Initially, when you ask for something, I need red paint, and the paint comes, it's almost purple.
Right,
okay,
right.
I need this Pantone color of paint, and it has to be, this, and then it has to be matched up. So you
and then finally you're just giving them the color code itself, right?
color coded. So yeah, so you
Right.
you build it up to get the discipline you need, but it might not happen on the first run. And when people realize when they see the results, speed of response. One of the things that I've seen is you can ask for something and it doesn't happen very fast. But if you demonstrate you're moving a bit faster, maybe not as fast as in the US or UK, you move a bit faster and things get done more quickly and you achieve your goals, then it becomes more exciting. Hey, we achieved something that no one's achieved, and then that motivates everyone. There has to be rewards in there. It's
right, because you mentioned that point earlier about respect, like gaining the respect of your colleagues and your workers, right? And once that is there, things kind of flow more efficiently, right?
More efficiently, yes. And the respect is there. And if you're working with different levels, there could be people in the office, there could be people designing, and there could be people on the factory floor. If you don't see motivation, hi, can you hear me? Yes, I'm back.
Sorry, Marvin. The last thing we heard was if you're working with
people on the factory floor.
It's still
more or less, yeah.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you repeat what you just said? Sorry.
Yes. If you're working with different people in the office, in design, in engineering, and the factory floor, well, you work with them in different ways. Okay, so you need to you have to be at the right level. You need to give them the information that will help them be successful, and at the same time, if you see they're not motivated, it's like, why they're not motivated? And I've come across the cases where they're not really being paid that much. And if they get a temporary job in the meantime,
obviously that will be something very demotivating.
Yes, and so that sometimes.
Okay, well, let's see. Marvin comes back.
Frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
So yeah.
But that's a very interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the points that Marvin has brought up has been helpful to me. Like, did you hear what I last said? That you're back.
Yes.
Like I definitely do see this if you feel like the motivation is slow, and then you start putting in more of the giving the example of what should be done, then I definitely noticed that it is a factor that helps. So and the pay being low and is a real issue here.
And these things that you mentioned about, like for example, as a leader, doing things yourself and kind of showing by example, and then gaining the respect of your peers, your colleagues, and then finding that balance to kind of get the job done. It's like hearing you speak, and from our personal experience also, that has been kind of the transformative thing about doing business here, right? And making things happen here in Mexico, because you got to kind of balance this, I guess, this cultural ways of doing things,
Yeah.
So for people who are traveling, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I think so, yes. And to be open-minded and to try and really help as much as you can.
Yeah.
To accept, for them to accept you and to you to accept them. It can't be, you can't bring how you were 100%. You have to change. You have to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you are a very stiff kind of person, it's going to be very hard to just do well here, because it's really a whole different culture, and it takes a while to get it, Yeah.
Yes, actually, that's a good point. And like an example comes to mind. We have some friends who run businesses here and from China, right? So there's a cultural clash between China and Mexico. So we can actually see what's happening between these bosses or business owners who are Chinese and their workers who are Mexican, right? And the frustration that happens when the workers get yelled at, and frustration on both sides, because both parties just want to get the job done.
Yes.
But then at the end of the day, when we talk to the Mexicans, they're saying, "Oh, the boss doesn't. He's always shouting. He's always in a bad mood, And since he's always in a bad mood, I don't feel like bringing up this issue which I have, or which needs to be solved, to him." And then it becomes an endless loop,
And things.
So
and that is definitely a culture clash, and I've seen that as well. And it's been one of them where someone like me and my colleagues, what we do, we're that interface. So if a company comes over directly and they try to do directly, they're going to have these collisions. When you have a group like the group I'm in, we're the interface. You can't do things like that. You can't talk to people like that. There are different labor laws here. There's other things. There's many things, not just labor laws, but how people are treated in China is not how people are treated here, and vice versa. It's different.
Yeah.
So there has to be something in the middle, and that's where people like me come in to make that transition a bit easier.
Right. And I mean, like one really good thing is, like, I would say the British way is actually very clear, and the whole kind of communication style is about like speaking up and getting things across, right? Like the Chinese way is very quiet, and they there's a lot of silent things happening, and you don't know what's going on, so it might have trouble there with that two cultures as well, like, since we're on that topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Marvin, it's been extremely fun to discuss all these things with you. But we've come to the end of the show. And definitely we want to invite you on again to talk more.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So if you have any last thoughts that you want to share with our audience, now's a good time.
Yes, especially for people who are, they might be considering going to another country in the capacity of their job, or just trying something new, or what would you
advice?
Have a very open mind. Be ready to adapt. Try to not restrict yourself in your enjoyment, in the culinary experience. Try to learn about where you're going, the culture, and just to be very open. Just to absorb as much as you can, and if you can immerse yourself in the language as well, that helps. All new experiences, and don't base it on what you saw in a Hollywood film. No, that does not work.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. That was cool. And I'm Celestine Angel.
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
And we have Marvin Govinden with us, and we're here on ADR Networks, activating your senses.
Catch you next time. Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend, y'all.